There is no despair in the world. Talk to Hashem for 1 hour every day. Every day of our life, yearn, pray, and make a practical effort to live in Eretz Israel. There's only one necessary path, and that's simplicity. Welcome. I'm Rebbe Nachman, and this is the Simple Life Breslov podcast. I'm excited to get started. We have something very, very exciting to talk about today. But first, this episode is in the merit of my wife and kids, Chava Amuna bat Sarah Leah Nava bat Chava Amuna Betzala Moshe bin Chava Amuna Malka Rivka bat Chava Amuna Aliyah Zipporah bat Chava Amuna bat Yechaya bat Chava Amuna Yosef Simcha bin Chava Amuna. Also for the protection of all the IDF soldiers, for the protection and safe release of all the hostages, may they come home quickly. And feel free to leave a comment and let us know your thoughts about the podcast. So let's talk about the power of forgetting. Interesting topic, right? So let's jump into it. Rebbe Nachman's Wisdom. I love this book. I recommend anyone who has a couple dollars to invest into their spirituality. It'd be a beautiful, beautiful investment. Maybe it's $15 or something like that. Rebbe Nachman's Wisdom. This is page 126, lesson 26. It says, most people think of forgetting as a serious drawback, but to me, it has a great advantage. Let's see what Rebbe Nachman says. If you did not forget, it would be utterly impossible to serve God. You would remember your entire past, and these memories would drag you down and not allow you to raise yourself to God. Whatever you did would be constantly disturbed by your memories of the past. The past is gone forever and need never to be brought to mind. Because you can forget, you are no longer disturbed by the past. It was the Rebbe's practice never to replay finished business in his mind. He put it out of his mind and never thought of it again. This is interesting because I think sometimes, and I'll speak for myself, I feel sometimes that maybe depending on the magnitude of that particular thing, I feel obligated that I have to think about it or I have to remember it. And it reminds me of something I read by Rebbe Nachman. He says, if you want to, do. If you don't want to, don't do. Meaning, we're not controlled. We're not tied down by our feelings and our choices. Like, we have a choice to do. We have a choice not to do, right? It's the idea, the concept of free will. It's not that hard. Sometimes we feel like our habits are in so much control of our lives. And that's just the trick of the Yetzer Hara. Rebbe Nachman says, if you want to do something, you can do it. And you will continue to do it. And if you don't want to do it, you can just stop it, right? And so the Rebbe's practice, as it says here, it was to never replay finished business in his mind. Once he did something or something was over, that's it. He never brought it up again. This is very important to consider when serving God. Most people are distressed by past events, especially during prayer, right? Everybody can relate. A lot of times when we're praying, we're davening, we are disturbed by things that we did, certain events in our lives. When a person recites his prayers, his thoughts are constantly disturbed by memories of the past. He may think about his business or household affairs, I could raise my hand there, worrying whether he did something wrong or neglected something important. While attempting to serve God through prayer or study, he might become troubled by his many sins and shortcomings. This is a universal problem, and each person knows his own difficulties. The best advice for this is simply to forget. As soon as an event is over with, forget it completely and never think about it again. Understand this well, for it is a very important concept. Isn't that so simple? That's why I called this podcast The Simple Life, because when it comes to serving God, as I mentioned before, it's very easy to feel that serving God is difficult and there's a lot of steps involved and you got to be super duper deep. Rebbe Nachman was a genius when it came to helping people connect and get closer to Hashem. Look how simple that is. He said, the best advice is for us to just forget about it. As soon as something is over with, as soon as an event is over with, forget about it completely and just don't think about it. You don't have to think about it. You're not a slave to your habits. You're not a slave to your thoughts. He said, in our sacred literature, we find that God gave us the power to forget. so we can simply appreciate. It says that in our sacred literature, we find that God gave us the power to forget so we can always appreciate the Torah just as we did the first time we learned it. Beautiful. That's in Kohelet Rabbah 1:34. Because you forget, you can relearn or review a lesson, and it is like learning it anew. Therefore, you appreciate it as much as the first time. Incredible. Here's a story. It says a good illustration is provided by men hired to fill leaky barrels. The more they poured into the barrels, the more leaks out. The fools complain, "Why are we working in vain? What good is it to fill the barrels if it all leaks out?" But the wise one reply, "What difference does it make? Don't we get paid for every day we work? If the barrels leak, our wages are not reduced." The same is true for our sacred studies. You might forget them, but your reward is not reduced. Beautiful. I love that. In the future, God will make everyone remember everything he ever learned, even if it was forgotten during his lifetime. That can be found in the Zohar 185a. So I really hope this lesson was very encouraging. Again, this is the Simple Life Breslov podcast, taking Rebbe Nachman's beautiful teachings and just sharing them on a very, very simple level. That's it. Why? So that we can learn how to connect. That's all. Hashem wants our hearts. He wants us to be able to connect and return to him. And sometimes a lot of us just need simple, practical steps to just get reconnected again. And that was the goal of the Simple Life Breslov podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. I pray that we are all able to take in these teachings and not just learn them, but Rebbe Nachman said to apply them. The main thing is action. Please, God, help us all to be able to put these different teachings and these concepts and ideas into practice immediately and simply and truthfully. Love you guys very much. Have a good day.